Hey guys, welcome to the show. I am your host Linda Kieng, and I am here with the one and only Nelson Kipruto, a youth leader, an upcoming politician, and a son of Kenya who has helped so many young people right now who are really going through a lot, especially a lot of economic challenges due to the political nature of our country. So karibu sana Nelson.
Okay, thank you. My name is Nelson, just like you have been told, and I'm from Kericho County. That is where my parents are, Kipkendounis constituency and Londiani sub-county, a village called Leosotit, and a regular resident of Londiani town. That is where I'm based at, but currently I live in Nairobi, in Bakassi West, and that's where I am now.
Fantastic. So maybe you can tell us where your political journey began.
Okay, I think my political journey started way back when I was in primary school. Because I remember at one point when I stood in front of the students, the headmaster would choose me and say, "This will be our head boy," just from the C or from the look only, and the headmaster would say, "This guy is our head boy." And from there, I engaged the pupils, that is my colleagues by then, and with time, I learned about leadership, and I believe more so that leadership, a leader is born, and that is where now I learned a lot, and I proceed to Kapchiplanga Secondary School, and later on to Londiani Boys Secondary School, and that's where I was given an opportunity to serve the student in different capacities. And after my studies in Londiani Boys Primary School, I went to didnt University, and that's when I felt or I experienced real leadership, whereby in my second year I fight for the position, and I was elected as the Secretary for Security and External Affairs, a very sensitive post. And with due diligence, I served my fellow comrades, and I gave the best actually, because I could make sure that I'm an intermediary between the students and the university. And you remember or you know that we have striking universities, and having been given that docket, it was very key thing for me to make sure that I'm listening with the students' demand at the same time with what the administration is giving out, so that at least we avoid a situation whereby the students are going overboard and striking. And throughout my academic years in my didnt universities, there were no strike at all, and that is how I felt that like I did my best in serving the students from there. Also, through with time, we engaged the Kenya University Student Union, KUSO, and we were bestowing or we were installing the leadership of KUSO, and by then we did a meeting with all the university student leaders, and by then we gave Babu Wino as our secretary, or as a secretary person, or as a person who will oversee our activities as KUSO. And unfortunately or fortunately, it reached my time to exit campus, and the way I exited my activities, or I quit engaging with KUSO, and now I am back on national politics, whereby I saw an opportunity in my constituency and my ward level, whereby we engage with leaders from that place. And in 2017, I vied for an MCA seat as an independent candidate, and that was in the year 2017. Actually, it was a daring action that I took, and I fight for the MCA seat not because I wanted to have that seat only, but I wanted to give my best leadership that I knew God has given me. And that is when now people decided to send me back, and they told me that maybe I should wait for the next time, so that they will give me another chance, give me an opportunity. And that is where now I am still pursuing my political career, despite the fact that we have political instability in our country, but I'm very passionate about leadership and serving the people of this country at different levels.
Oh, fantastic. So how did you make the transition from school politics all the way to national politics? How did you do that? Because there are so many people who wish to go into that direction and they have no idea how to do it.
Okay, the transition happened whereby there was a demand, or there was a demand from my local or my people back at home, and my youths, my fellow youths, called me and asked me or requested me if I can give a try in sitting the incumbent by then. And for my case, with all my courage, I saw that it was a walkover. It was a walk in the park actually, and just like any other person who will see that I can manage this. And when they called me to go and see if I can run for that seat, then we discussed and we had we come up with a committee that will oversee our activities throughout the campaigning. And after a short period of time, we resolved into going for as an independent candidate, because by then Jubilee nomination was very expensive and we could not afford the resources or the finances to register for the as a member of Jubilee. So we registered as an independent candidate with small amount of money, and that was very easy for us. And that is when now I came out to be known as a politician or a leader who is ambitious in leading the people of my ward. Yeah.
Many people tend to believe that young people should not run for power. What are some of the challenges that you faced as a young person in politics?
The challenge that we always face as youths, first of all, is the resources. We don't have money to finance our activities. Number two, we have jealousy from our fellow youths. When our fellow youths see that you want to do something, they think that maybe you are about to achieve your goals, and that is where now they are going to pull you down by either going against you or by ignoring you, by not supporting you. That is the challenge that we always go through. And also we have parents. Our parents are very fearful, or they fear letting us join politics. So that is another challenge, because at some point you need to heed to your parents' advice. And by doing so, you will be limiting, or you will be restricting yourself from following your career or maybe following your ambitions. Yeah.
So far, I know it's not easy for you to run for, a seat in politics, and besides doing that, you've helped so many young people in the villages, back at home, in the city. What are some of the challenges that most of the youth face today?
Okay, the challenges that our youths are facing today is unemployment. We have high rate of unemployment in our country. Number two, the living standard, or the living standard of our people has gone down because there is no money in the economy. So the economy, the poor economy of our country is creating a lot of challenges for our youths in our country, and that is what it has brought. It has brought a lot of difficulties for our youth to survive. And you realize that most of our youth now have resolved into activities that are irrelevant and very risky, because they found to be the better option for them, other than what they have been promised when they were in their schools or when they were expecting while growing up.
Yeah. So many people say that the youth are hugely neglected by the government. Why do you think this is so?
Our youths have been neglected, it's a fact. First of all, when you see jobs that are supposed to be for youths, they are being given to old people. And mostly even, I think we have experienced such scenarios with the current government. We have had so many people who are old enough or very old, who are supposed to have retired from politics or from their careers, and give chances to youths. That's why we have seen even the recent appointment of our president in Kenya. We have, I think most of us knows about Mudi Awori, the former vice president. He's currently the chair of Sports, Arts and Social Development team, and with the age of 91, you see. So that alone can tell you that we have been neglected and we are not given space, maybe even to. So when we have people like Mudi Awori still holding high offices, it's so awkward actually when we're having a country with a high percentage of youths occupying our country, and that one now has become a very big challenge in even steering the economy towards maybe improving it to the level of other international countries.
What do you feel can be done?
Okay, I think we need to put things right by avoiding living in denial or putting a blame on each other. First of all, I think we have a KOTU, and which stand for which represent the affairs of all the workers in our country. Number two, we have the government, and the government can mitigate by reducing the retirement age of the people who are serving in the public service, and that will help us maybe to at least replace the youthful age into the government offices, and that would be the best. Yeah.
You know, for every politician, their family is usually the foundation and the background in which they start their political career, and they always have a family to fall back on. So tell us about your family.
Wow. My family is okay, I can say my family is the backbone of everything, and also the side of my mother, whereby actually I come from a single parent, and I've been living with my mom since I was born, or since I came to realize that she's my mother. She has been the only person I've been living with, and in my home I am the second born, and we are 5. I have 4 brothers and 1 sister, and we've been getting support from our mother, from the hustle or from the job that she has been doing all along up to this point. And we have other family members, but they have been supportive in a way, but not that much. Of course, you understand that maybe when you don't have a father, or you are not associated with a man as your partner of your mother, sometimes you face a lot of challenges because your uncle might not stand for you. First of all, you get chased out of that home, so that your mother can go and find out, or can find where to settle you. And from there, my mother took a very step bold and took us away from our grandmother's home, and where we went out far away from our home, and that's where now we established ourselves by investing in education, and until we reached this point. Yeah, and we have had not family friends, but we have guardians who have been in support of our education, and even church also has been chipping in support of our education from a certain family, and that's how we have come out up to this point, and we thank God for that, because we can at least see the world in a different perspective. And like when we were back, or we had not gone to school to this level. Yeah.
That's very true. Actually, in a lot of the initiatives, I noticed that you support a lot of youth and a lot of single parents, of which in the last 10 years, single parents, especially single mothers, have been, have become more. Why do you feel like this is so? What is happening to society?
Okay, being as an independent parent, that is maybe mother or a father, I think it has become it's a new norm in the city or in the town, whereby people find comfort when they are standing alone for their kids. and it has become very easy because when people have, for example, my mom, I think she believed that being alone, she can have that peace of mind and do whatever she can to make sure that she's bringing up her children, despite the fact that we have the challenge in terms of the financial and everything. But my mom found out to be a good idea or a way to go for her survival and with her kids. And again, it is not a guarantee that when you have your partner in a family, you are assured of support. Maybe you might be having, you might be husband and wife, but one is not supporting you, but you are together. So that is how you find that people might decide to separate and go or part ways, but bringing up the children either by one parent or both parents, but they might not be together. And it has been proven to be the best way, and it has worked out for many families. And I don't think there's a problem with that. But for my case, I don't advocate for that. I'll advocate a situation whereby both parents, who are the partners, who have bear the children, to come up and bring up the children, so that at least the children can feel the sense of belonging. Because at times when you don't have a mother or you don't have a father, you feel like the society is against you and everything is against you, and you don't get, even if you miss a certain opportunity, you think because maybe you don't have a parent or a mother or a father. Yeah, so sometimes parents, we should not make any mistake by choosing a single life and at the same time getting children up to even 7, and you know for sure that you don't have a specific, probably a father that your children will be calling that family. So we should make sure that at least we are staying together and standing for each other, no matter how the hard the life can be, but make sure that you are making those children to feel the sense of belonging in our society. Yeah.
You've been very vocal about BBI. Tell us about that.
Okay, BBI, just like we were told by our former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, he told us that it is a nyoka, you see. And when he told us that it is a nyoka, you see, that is something which we need to be scared of. And by referring something that we being told on the other side that it is going to unite us, and you refer to it as a nyoka, I think you are contradicting, and you making, or you being a person of double speak, and no one will believe that. And again, whatever the content that BBI has, just from the look or from what I've seen from the media, and I've tried to read, but I don't think that whatever is inside is something which is achievable. For we already have it in the 2010 Constitution. We have had, especially when they say that we have the Youth Commission that is going to be created so that the youth can be advocating their affairs. I think that is youths are being lured into supporting BBI because we already have that commission, or we have NYC that it can advocate for the youth affairs. Why should we have it in the BBI? Again, we are being told about the loans, the help loan, that we will be given a grace period of 4 years. I think even right now, you are not supposed to pay the loan before you get employed. So, and because in Kenya you are waiting for an employment for a period of well more than 10 years, that alone is a grace period that is already existing. So there is no need to be echoed in the BBI because it doesn't make sense anyway, right? So that we see that BBI intentionally has got its own agenda, and we as common wananchi, we don't know. It is only the two proponents of the BBI who knows what does it have and who is going to benefit from that. Ideally, we know that people don't want to exit out of powers. People want to remain in power, or even give out powers to their next of kin by any way. So that is why we find out BBI to be something which it is not necessary as of now. And that's why we are saying, personally, I don't support BBI. And I advocate that we focus in building our economy. Instead of focusing on BBI, we focus in building our economy, because BBI needs funding. And instead of having that fund going to BBI, we better fund other important sectors in Kenya. We have the health sectors whereby we have had a problem with nurses and doctors. We should be focusing in funding those areas so that at least we can support them. Because if we leave Kenyans to die of corona or the pandemic, of this pandemic, I think we'll even lack people to address on BPI matters. So what comes first is the health matters. And now again we have the funds. The education ministry needs a lot of fund, because we realize that we don't have enough classrooms. And it's so ironical because the Jubilee government promised our kids the laptop. One laptop per child. But what we are getting is one child or one tree per one child, because you find that a child or a pupil is sitting alongside the tree. So you imagine, now you're imagining where is the laptop that were promised? From the classroom to the forest. So it's so ironical that we experience this when we had the promise being clear by the Jubilee government by then. So instead of focusing on funding the BBI, we should be focusing on building classroom and enough desks for our kids. And again, we have those schools which were swept away by floods. We should be building, because having the children studying in forest, whereby of course they will develop some complication, health issues. And when a child develops health issues from that forest whereby he or she is studying, he or she is supposed to go to the hospital. Going to hospital, you will not find the doctor, because they are on strike, or they are feeling that we are not going to work. Or even you might go to hospital and because of they lack motivation. They know at the end of the day this government are lying to them that they are going to be paid. So Kenyans have been pushed, and they are at the point whereby they are almost giving up. But we know one day, one time, God is going to give us the best leadership, that we are going to get the best from that leader. Yeah.
How do you feel the government is handling the coronavirus pandemic?
From the word go, I think no one believed in corona thing actually, whereby how it came or how it was pronounced in Kenya, it was so weird, because it's like the government officials were having a lot of pressure why they are not announcing that corona has already arrived in Kenya. So the way they announced the first case, people lost trust, and up to date we have a small percentage of people believing in corona. However, we are having people dying of corona. We find it that even they don't believe it, but yes, we believe we find out that people are dying of corona, but it is not how the government is pronouncing it and how they are handling it. And again, since the arrival of corona, we have had funding or funds coming from multinational bodies or outside country, funding our corona or preparation of the corona on how to tackle corona. But those funds has never been utilized, because we have had people getting tenders, but they supply nothing but siphoning the money. So how the government is handling this corona, they are joking actually, They are joking because we are not utilizing the money that is meant for corona pandemic. We have talked of having the county government hospitals getting prepared by having enough hospital, having enough PPEs, but we are getting nothing. To our next time whereby even the gloves you don't get. So the governments, our hospitals have been funded by the World Banks and other institutions, but people opt for private hospitals for them to get treatment or medication to prevent themselves against corona. And that's how we find that it is so awkward when we believe in our government to protect us against this pandemic and give us the right measures, but we are finding that it it is an avenue for them to save on the money. A case whereby, of course, you explained the tenders which were given by the KEMSA. Yeah, they floated the procedures of procurement process and give the tenders to the next of kin. And the president announced that in 21 days we will have gotten the answers for who gotten the tender and how he or she was awarded. 21 days are gone and nothing has come out. So we believe that the government and the president himself is the chief corrupt person, or is the chief of corruption in this country, because even after his family been mentioned in corruption line, he hacked less in making sure that Kenyans are getting the answers. The ACC and the EACC and the DCI also have become mere offices whereby nothing is happening. Kenyans are not getting they are not getting fairness, or they are not getting answers on who got the money and how they gotten this money and who to prosecute. So it's the games, they are playing games on Kenyans, and Kenyans are tired of this corona thing, and even we wish that God will take away this corona even it is here in Kenya. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on school reopening in the midst of a pandemic?
Actually, opening the school again after closing it for months, and we still have cases of corona, I think that again hurts, or it makes people to even wonder if there is this corona. Apart from the pronunciation that there is corona in Kenya, which most people doubt it, and now restricting or giving out measures that disrupted the economy of the people, up to now opening the school while still announcing the corona cases, the government is becoming more suspicious, or we are becoming more suspicious on whether we still have this corona or not. Because at this time, yes, we have opened the school, but we still have the corona. That alone is adding a lot of trouble to the government, because for us Kenyans, we feel that this corona has been just but our way or a form of milking the money that has been given to Kenya. Because you realize that Tanzania did away with mask, and they passed laws, or they make sure, they told the people that if you found wearing a mask you will be arrested. You see, and that was last year around November. And we have not had any case, and Tanzania is just a neighboring. We have transits moving from Kenya to Tanzania, even to Uganda, and they are coming to Kenya. And you find out that they don't have those restrictions or measures being in place or as a way of mitigating or preventing corona from spreading in Tanzania. But in Kenya, we still have, even including the curfew. I think curfew used to be given out under the state of emergency some years back, but now it has been used to prevent corona. Logically, you cannot even, you find it weird, because during the day people are mingling, people are meeting, people are in the market, people are in the bus stations and many other areas, or in towns, in big towns. So if you were to get corona, you will have gotten, and then you are restricted not to move in the night. There is no relationship between during the day and during the night corona prevention. It doesn't add up. We find that government is having a hidden agenda on this curfew. And personally, I always think that the government knows that we have a hurting economy, and this curfew is meant to reduce the damages that might be caused by the Kenyans as a result of maybe theft or robbery during the night. That's why the government is making sure that they are restricting the movement of people, so that people might not, those people who have bad intention might not be brought into their businesses of other people. So this curfew is meant for restricting movement for people and for security purpose, but it is not for corona prevention. Yeah.
You recently moved from Kieleweke to Tangatanga. Why the sudden change?
Okay, You see, sometimes when you are in Kieleweke, you realize that we thought that Kieleweke was a wing that was being supported by the president. And for us, we never wanted to show the president that we are not loyal to him, because we voted him twice in 2017. And I've been very loyal to our president, and we believe, because for my case, I always see the president to be a youthful leader who deserve even to be given time to serve us. But I realized that the Kieleweke narrative was being carried by the Nyeri Town MP, and for that reason, with the Kieleweke wing threw a lot of insult to Tanga, and with those insults, you find that you stand to gain nothing, but you're creating an enmity. And now, considering that from the Kieleweke is somehow advocating for the extension of the powers of the president, and for my case, I understand the constitution restricts any person who has finished his term to extend his powers. So I found that I should not be in Kieleweke, because we have now the deputy president who had an agreement with the current president that yangu 10 yako 10. So for my case, I decided to run into whereby I know there is leadership ahead. But on this other side of the president is finishing his term, and we will want him to retire and leave the opportunity for other people to lead, and precisely that is the William Samoei Ruto. Yeah.
There has been talk that the president is planning to run planning to get the prime minister seat in 2022. So give us your thoughts about that.
Okay, those are speculations which are going around the media. And I remember the president, when he was in Sagana State Lodge, he said that he won't mind if he will be given the prime minister seat. Of which, in an African setup, you'll find that Africans and leadership, Africans are insatiable, because they don't get enough of this leadership. So they want to be given every now and then. But our constitution is very clear on that. And the president might be feeling that he needs more time to serve this country, just because he has appointed the old people into this government. One, he might be thinking that maybe if I can give maybe Francis Mudaura to be the CEO of KRA, or Mudi Awori to be the chair of sports, art and social development, then he himself now at 60, he can get that extension, or he can get more powers, or which that's a fallacy, and we don't allow that. Even the constitution itself is very clear on that. So if you think that he can run, unless through the BBI, and BBI we have said we are going to kill it, and we can't allow that BBI even to go through, because it advocates for the extension of powers, and it wants to create more position for other people. Because the analogy whereby they say that they want to avoid the ones, or the take it all scenario, just the way people have been explaining that it doesn't even prevent any kind of the take it all scenario, because we find out that we'll be having people who will be losing, and we'll be having people who will be winning. And if you think that you want to accommodate everyone at the national level, what about at the county levels? Or so if they can tell us that maybe we can have those who will be aspiring for another seat, will be having another one leader, and all those who aspire for that seat to be in the government or to be included, of which it is not possible, because who will be paying these people? So we find that lies in the hands of the people, and this term is coming to an end. Yeah.
What are your plans for your people in 2022?
2022, I think we are, this political atmosphere, we are hoping that we are going to cool it. And for 2022, I'll be among those who will be running. And for now, I want to mention to which position or in which, but of course I'll be among those people will be running for the seat, because currently I'm having projects which I am doing, and I believe those projects is going to give me a political mileage, and also by serving the people I'll have a positive impact, and by then they will realize that they will need a leader of my caliber, and I'll be given that position to serve them. Yeah.
So what are you going to offer your people?
Of course, we have service delivery, and and again we have, when you've been bestowed with these powers, what you must understand as an individual is that this is an opportunity that you've been given by the people through God, because you'll be doing one of the activities that Jesus was doing and his disciples. So you must not take it for granted or use it for your own benefit. You must make sure that you are doing according to the expectation of the people, but not your expectation. Because you've been given this opportunity, not because you are the best or you are the only person. Remember, we have many people, but if people chooses you, it is because they have seen something in you. And now, don't swallow that something that people saw in you during when they were electing you. Make sure that you are giving them the best service. Sometimes we might get into these powers or into this leadership, and we think of accumulating more wealth or a lot of money. One thing is that money won't help you if you have made people to suffer, and history will judge you that you had an opportunity but you did this and this, and that will not be fair to you and your family. So the best thing that you can do as a leader or as an individual, you need to give the best when you've been given this chance, because we have other people outside there, but you as an individual, you've gotten that opportunity.
Yeah, that's very true. We have so many people who follow you, who love you, and who have been your supporters from day one. What message do you have for them?
Okay, to my supporters, I always tell them that during the first day that I have started my political career, I'm just reminding them that this is a journey, and success is not a destination. It's a journey that we are all traveling. And I'm urging them to believe in my leadership, and also to know that it is not all about me, but it is all about we who want this leadership. So when I'm aspiring for a certain position, they should know that it is all about us and not me alone. So I'm urging them that we move together, we help one another, and one day, one time, we will have seen what we will have done to the people, and of course we will all celebrate the success and the success of the people.
What is your message to our viewers?
Okay. Our viewers, I think it's been a pleasure to be in front of you, and you've given us this chance. At least you had.
So tell us, who do you feel will take over in the next government?
Okay, I think the next government, as you can see that we had millions of Kenyans who elected the Jubilee government. And publicly, the current president, Uhuru Kenyatta, said that he's going to be in the government to be the president for 5 good years, and his deputy is going to take it from there. And most Kenyans right now have stick to that. No matter what the president is telling us right now, most people have stick to that one. So, personally, I believe that the best leader to take over this country is His Excellency, the Deputy President, William Samoei Ruto, who is going to take over from Uhuru Kenyatta. And I think that Ruto will be having a very big task in remitting the debts that we have right now. We understand that the Kenyan debt is at 9 trillion. And with the 9 trillion, we are seeing that there is a high rate of unemployment. So it is the debt plus the unemployment, so that we can recover our economy. So that the deputy president who I believe that is going to be elected by the majority of Kenyans to a president is going to do an exemplary good job in making sure that we are reducing the debts and creating more employment. And that is to make sure that we will request our deputy, by then will be the president, to bring more development, to bring project into our grassroots level. And that they will create employment, and we will be having more money circulating in the economy. And by then we won't lack money, because we with the employment, and I think also you will have to do away with the people who are sitting in the high jobs and they are old enough. And if this amendment or this suggestion of reducing the retirement age will go through, I think it will help us also to create more position for our youths. And a certain percent of youths will benefit with that reduction of the retirement age in our government, and that will be the best way to go. Yeah.
What other ways do you feel that the next government can reduce unemployment among the youth? Because currently we have so many youth unemployed, and we have limited opportunities for young people. So what do you feel, being a member of Tanga Tanga and having interactions with the deputy president, what do you feel the next government will do for us as the youth?
Okay, just like I had said that by reducing the retirement age, by making sure that that article is amended and implemented, say that we have the old people and the people who will be, we have a high percentage of youths but unemployed. So if we reduce the retirement age, we will be cutting off those people who have been in office for a long time. And now we make sure that we have such opportunities, then our youths will be fine. Again, we might not rely on jobs only. We might rely on opportunities whereby we have maybe inviting investors. When the investor will come, they will be having those opportunities, or they will be having maybe they'll be having the industries, or they will be having various investment, and then jobs will be created apart from this one for the government. And again, I think our learned youths can use the creative strategy that they have, using the knowledge that they acquire when in colleges and in universities, and that will be a better way of having more jobs being created and maybe absorbing more youths. Yeah, because right now what we are expecting to just like we had been promised about the internships by the government, but it has already failed. So for now we are no longer focusing on that, because the current government has failed and we might not expect much more. But we are hoping in the next government that will be led by the Excellency, the Deputy President. Yeah.
Recently, the president made some utterances, and he said that Kenya belongs to everyone, and each tribe should have a chance to lead and to taste leadership. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Okay, that one, I think it was a sad day for Kenyans to hear such utterances from His Excellency Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. The president is a symbol of national unity, and his utterances should be very, they are sensitive. His utterances are very sensitive to Kenya. So I think those utterances were due to anger, because I remember that he talked after Francis Atwoli made some noise, and also some senators, and now presidents were angered by such utterances, and that's why he said so. That one is not acceptable by the Kenyans. We are a democratic country, and we allow each and every Kenyan to go for any position that he or she feels like he can win. But inclining your argument or your logic by saying this time is for another tribe, I think if I can say, Kenyans are not tired with two tribes, but Kenyans are tired with two families. We have the Kenyatta family and the Moi family, which have been in leadership, and we have have gotten nothing from these families. The only person who gave us good results, who raised our economy, and is Mwai Kibaki, and that's the only person. And we believe he was a hand hustler also. But the Kenyatta family and the Moi family, we are tired of them, and we don't need them to be in leadership anymore. So the president should have made his utterance very clearly by saying that I think Kenyans are tired of our family. That is the Kenyatta family and the Moi family. So for us Kenyans, even if we are going to have another Kikuyu or if a person from his community being the best leader to be elected, we are going to elect him. We don't care whether he's a Kikuyu or a Kalenjin. But if we are going to have a Kalenjin or a Luya or this other tribe, we are going to elect them. We see leadership. What normally happens is that we elect a person because he or she is a leader. Is a leader, and later on we appreciate the fact that he or she comes from our community. But the key thing is that that person must be a leader. And that's why now we believe that Deputy President is the best leader to take over this country. So the President should apologize to all Kenyans by making such utterances, because we are losing trust on him, and he's dividing this country along the tribal base, and he's subscribing to an analogy that is dividing this country. And I think he has enough time to serve this Kenya due diligence and get out of the office when his time comes. Yeah.
Our previous presidents have left an impeccable legacy. For instance, Moi left Maziwa ya Nyayo, Kibaki left so much development and free education. Uhuru planned to leave his legacy and through Agenda 4, of which I don't know what has happened to Agenda 4. Some of you can share with us what you feel Uhuru's legacy will be, and also when Ruto assumes power, or when Ruto gets into power, what do you think will be his legacy?
Okay, for now it's so unfortunate that we cannot read from the walls the legacy that Uhuru Kenyatta is about to leave, because we are in a hurting economy. We're in the middle of pandemic, and we are having a political turmoil that we as Kenyans, we are not sure of where we are heading. And that one alone is giving us a lot of suspicion that Uhuru Kenyatta might be the worst president that we have ever had since independence. Because he not only mistreat his people in the government who go or who have different opinions, but also he speaks with hunger, and a leader should not have that hunger when speaking to people, and he is not symbolizing any unity that we expect as per the constitution. So the legacy that the president is about to leave is such kind of pain that we're experiencing with the hurting economy, and we are experiencing the COVID-19, and another thing that so what I can say with Uhuru legacy, I think we don't expect anything. We have talked of the Big Four agenda, but it has gone to air. Now we are focusing on the BBI, and the BBI cannot be a legacy because it is trying to interfere with our constitution. So that alone is an interruption, and it cannot be among the legacy. But it will term our president, or Uhuru Kenyatta, as the worst president Kenya has ever had. And for the case of Ruto, I think Ruto will be having a very big task in making sure that he is going to make sure that he reduce the theft that we are having. He's going to reduce the debt that we are having as a country, and again he is going to make sure that the unemployment is reduced by creating more jobs, because being part of the Jubilee, he must have mentioned about creating jobs, but because he's not the president as of now, but the deputy and is following his president, he might not make any much significant in making or in developing or in doing what is expected as the deputy, because we have seen that the president is himself is sabotaging his deputy by sidelining him and pushing him away from his responsibilities. I guess a case whereby we have seen the duties that the deputy president is supposed to do, the president is assigning to someone else. And this we are experiencing in this second term. During the first term, we saw that the president and his deputy were working closely, and we had no much complaints during that time. But since the inception of the handshake, we realized that deputy president was pushed away. And the moment the deputy president was pushed away, most development activity that was happening in his country were pushed away also, because we have not experienced anything good coming out of this government, especially the handshake government that we are having right now. And that one has become a challenge to all Kenyans, and we are all surviving, expecting to have the better government come 2022. If Ruto will get this chance, which I'm very sure that Kenyans are going to elect him, I think he is good enough to strategize for this country. He's a good planner and a good strategist, and he knows how that person from humble background can come up to be someone or to be a better person in this society. Deputy president can go down to her to make sure that that person is uplifted. Of course, you must have seen him mentioning about Mama Mboga, border guys, and many other people who are there grassroots level. These are the people who need less capital, and such activities, or if they get this even less capital, they can utilize that capital into coming or raising a very big businesses. Because we see that it was saying that we have that person who is owning a border to buy a tuk-tuk, and the one having a tuk-tuk to buy a Probox going forward. So that is the way to go, because even those people who are paying taxes, a lot of taxes to this country or to this government, are those people who are the groundmen or the ground people, those people who are earning little money, but they are contributing much to this country. Because I'm very sure that no hustler or a person whose living standard is at the middle can avoid paying taxes. But these people who are in the top government or earning a lot of money, they can avoid paying taxes so easily. So we are having the majority of Kenyans who are at the grassroots level who are contributing much to this country, but unfortunately they are being misused by this government. And right now we expect the taxes to go high. I'm told even the price of the bread has already risen to 60, which is so sad. And we are now financing, or we are now it's like we want to refund or to give back the money to these people who stole the COVID money, because that is the only way the Kenyan government can get back the money. So I think Deputy President will be having an opportunity to bring back our economy to normal and stabilize the country economically by increasing or economic activities that will be undertaken by the government, and thus having the most people getting opportunities to be observed by the in various sectors.
The deputy president's biggest challenge is incumbency. People are not sure whether when he gets into power, he will change and he will bring the change that they promised when Jubilee began this race. So tell us, what will he do differently? Because currently he's facing the challenge of incumbency.
Okay, the deputy president, the responsibilities and duties of the deputy president in our Kenyan constitution, that is 2010 constitution, are stated clearly that the deputy president perform the duties that are assigned by the president. So the deputy is not the one to come up with projects. He is the one to be assigned the duty by the president. And during their first term, we saw that both the president and the deputy were working closely, and we had little complaint from the Kenyans, and that is why they were voted back. The duo were voted back to the government. because of the work that they did when they were together. Now, when we had Raila now replacing himself and calling himself to be the co-president, not even the deputy, but the co-president, of which the deputy president accepted and gave out that chance to the co-president, that is Raila. And we saw that the moment the deputy president left working with the president, we saw most activities or most benefit and most development that we were experiencing during their first term left the country, because you have not seen anything that is coming out of the handshake where the Raila is purporting to be the co-president. Now, it is not fair enough to say that the failure of Uhuru's legacy is the same as the failures of deputy president as far as his role is concerned. I think it is not fair enough to say so, because deputy is supposed to serve the duties given by the president, but the president is not doing that. And you see that in each and every other, even the previous leadership, we had Jomo Kenyatta, we had Moi, we have Kibaki, and now, or we had Kibaki and now we have who? Uhuru. So, do we always say that the legacy of Moi, or we mention his deputies, or the vice president? Of course, we say the legacy of Moi. We also say the legacy of Jomo Kenyatta, but not the legacy of his vice president. We say the legacy of Mwai Kibaki. We don't mention the deputies or the vice president. Now for this, we are focusing on the legacy of who? Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. We are not focusing on the deputy president. Deputy president has an opportunity in the near future to become the president, and that's when we focus on him. And when he was the Minister for Agriculture of Education, we saw a lot of changes which were very positive. And that enough tells us that Ruto is capable of leading this country. And by the fact that Uhuru Muigai selected or chose William Ruto to be his deputy, knew that he can what? He can win the votes, and also he has that national image as a performer, and thus they will win presidency if they combine their efforts. And now I think we now want to test the leadership of deputy president as the president, not as the deputy. And that is why we believe in him, because history tells it all, that he has been the MP, he has been a minister for both education and agriculture, and we saw a lot of changes, tremendous changes which brought or which boosted our economy. That is when, because we always say that Kibaki improved our economy. That is when the deputy president was the minister by then. So meaning he worked hand in hand with the president by then and did a good job. And now he was promoted to be the deputy president. Now if we promote him to be the president, I think we will be doing the right thing as Kenyans. And that is why we support the presidency of William Samoei Ruto.
In your opinion, what do you think he's going to do differently?
Okay, Ruto, for my case, just like I'd say that he's going to do tremendous work for us. Because being an MP, that is when Moi was the president. He learned something from the presidency of Moi. Now, he became the minister during the era of Kibaki. He learned something from Kibaki. Being the deputy president in the era of Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, he can give us the best president, given this chance. Just like when as a pupil or a student repeat class 3 times, what do you expect in that performance or in the third time in that class? Of course, you're expecting to get 98% of the results, and that is why we believe in the presidency of William Samoei Ruto. Not to mention what he will do, but we all expect that is going to improve our economy, because we are suffering right now. He's going to reduce unemployment, because he knows what he's spending in the National Assembly in terms of reducing the retirement age, and he knows the loopholes at the ground as an hustler, and those opportunities that we can leverage on in making sure that we are getting a livelihood as all Kenyans. And that's why we believe in his presidency, and we're going to support him 100%.
What do you think about Sonko's impeachment?
Sonko's impeachment is unfair, and I think the choice of millions of Nairobians is so unfair to be dismissed by a mere vote by a senator or by senators in the Senate. And if the democracy of all Kenyans and the Nairobians can be overturned in the Senate, I think the future leadership of this country cannot be trusted in the Senate. And that is why Sonko might have been removed, because he did not accept to dine with the dynasties or those people who were pushing him to sign or to accept the withdrawal of the money from the county government of Nairobi. So we know that Sonko's impeachment was due to conflict of interest, and nothing was fair and nothing was genuine with that. Immediately when Sonko was impeached, we had in 13 minutes, we had the gazettement of his impeachment. And mark you, it was at night. So who was in the desktop typing or doing something, gazettement? You see, it was a predetermined issue, or it had been also gazetted. It was just, they were releasing. They knew that Sonko was going to be impeached because the senators did that one courtesy of influence from the deep state or by the top official in this government. And that's why we found that it is so unfair, and how we wish we could have a place whereby we can run to and ask for justice for Sonko. For my case, because even you can realize that immediately when Sonko had been impeached and gazetted, we had Benson Butura being what? Sworn in. And in hours during that day, he had signed out the money, billions of money, to be used by the NMS, which is against the law. And you remember Sonko that say he accepted the transfer of powers or function of the county government to the NMS in presence of the CS of devolution and the president, because of the influence or something that he wasn't aware of. It was something that was choreographed, saying that Sonko will accept without even making his decision or without his consent. And that is why we say that Nairobians deserve a leader that they elected, and if not, they must be given a chance to elect their leader before 2022. And that is the democracy that Kenyans have fought for since independence. Yeah.
Recently, Irungu Kang'ata was in the headlines for switching sides. So give us your opinion on that.
Okay, in politics, we have interest. Number two, we have survival mode. So the advice to the president by Irungu Kang'ata, I think that was a personal advice to the president. Only that it came out to the media, and it came out to the media, of which Irungu Kang'ata is a chief whip in the Senate. And if you were fair enough, or if you were genuine in his advice, he will have done a study in the whole country, not in Mount Kenya alone. He will have done a study in the whole country and later on advise the president about the BBI and popularity. So Irungu Kang'ata has gone out of his duties by doing what is not expected to do as the chief of the Senate. Now, the components of that letter are very true. However, it came from Mount Kenya alone. Now, what we expect the president, if he believes that the BBI is something that it must sail through, then he should what? He should heed the advice from Irungu Kangata. But again, we know that it won't go through. Even if he heed to the advice from Kangata, the people will not change their mind to support the BBI. And Irungu Kangata made quick decisions in switching the wings. We know Kangata to belong to Kieleweke and the president's side. Or he chose an exit strategy by writing that letter. He should have taken time to study the whole country about the BBI, then address the president. But because he wanted to associate to quit the Kieleweke wing, he decided to write that letter purporting to advise the president, of which it's okay. Now, we know that is a survival. The ground is Tanga, the ground is Wheelbarrow, the ground is Hustler Nation. And everyone will want to associate with Hustler Nation. And that's why that's why Irungu Kangata is moving now to Tanga wing, just like Isaac Mwaura, the nominated senator. So people or these leaders want to survive in the next government. Just like I told you that we are sure, or we know our next president is William Samoei Ruto. And for the incumbent, the current senators, MP and MCAs will want to survive in the next government. Where do you think they will go, or they will have to go? Do you think they will stick to the Uhuru, or they will go to deputy president? Of course they will go to the deputy president, because that is where we expect the government to come from. Yeah.
Okay, very nice advice. If people wish to reach out to you, how can they get you?
Okay, we have the social media accounts, and I have my Facebook account, and my name is Nelson Ngeno in Facebook. Of course, you will capture this face and you will relate with the one in Facebook. And also in Twitter is Nelson Ngeno as well. And even my WhatsApp, you will find me also. And Instagram is Nelson Ngeno also. So I'm Nelson Ngeno everywhere. And from there we will interact and get to know more each other. Of course, we are going to move this country to the high level, because leadership is for youths, and that's what we are fighting. Every other time the president has been telling that youths must stand up or must rise to the occasion to fight for their space, and that's what we are doing. Personally, I'm fighting for my space in the political arena, and you also should not be left behind. You should rise up to the occasion, and we fight for what we know is rightfully ours as youths of this country. Thank you. I'm Nelson Ngeno, live with Linda at vmtv. Stay tuned.
Thank you guys for watching. We love you so much. I've been your host, Linda Kieng. See you again next week. Bye.
Thank you.